On this week's NBA 2K, there's no love lost in the East as the New York Knicks collide with the Miami Heat. Don't blink or you could be undone by a killer crossover dribble. The Candyman explains how. It's time to amp up the attitude. Steve Nash reveals the biggest, loudest and all-round wildest arenas. And it's silent but deadly does it in the West as the Utah Jazz try to ambush the fiery Portland Trailblazers. Forget the internet, it's nothing but net on ITV.
Welcome to NBA 2K and Match Bar in central London. With just 1 week left in the regular season, final positions and the odd playoff spot or two are still to be decided. So things are very, very tense. And in the East, there's a matchup which is typical of the electrifying mood of this time of the year. New York against Miami. This is a bruising game with plenty of recent history, not to mention a good deal of bad blood. And funnily enough, they say that the NBA is a non-contact sport. They have got to be kidding.
It's best said that NBA basketball is non-collision sport. You're not really supposed to run into each other, but it's definitely not non-contact.
There's times in basketball where contact is not allowed, which is the same in other sports, but at the same time, in general, it is a physical sport.
It's a non-contact sport when you have the ball and you can't really touch, or when a person's actually shooting the ball, you can't really hit them. But off the ball, on the weak side, everything goes pushing and shoving.
So far this season, I've had this scar right here from a game against Boston. This is a new bruise. I didn't even know I had this one until this morning. And then, of course, my shiner.
And Meech's latest battle scar came courtesy of Miami's Alonzo Mourning. Cheers, mate.
We have this guy on our team, he's 7'7", 7'6", and this guy on the other team picked him up and body slammed him.
It's like Keystone Cops out here.
I don't know how many times I've been hit in the nose. I don't know how many times Karl Malone has elbowed me, be it by accident or intentionally, in the head. But it's all part of the game, especially when you're playing, low in the post.
You want physical? Well, the New York Knicks and the Miami Heat know how to make basketball a full contact sport. Their games are usually all-out wars.
The fight breaks out. A fight is broken out between Mourning and Johnson.
This one's going to get really ugly.
Jeff Van Gundy is on the bottom of the pile. And a whistle away. There's some extracurricular stuff as Mashburn and Thomas.
Oh, an ugly melee underneath New York's basket. This is just ridiculous. Oh, my goodness. This has gotten downright ugly and frightening.
Miami is the latest battleground in this Eastern Conference war. The Knicks in blue love to play the role of villains, especially against their former coach, Pat Riley, who saw New York get out to the hot start.
We're just underway in Miami. Allen Houston.
With the playoffs approaching, the Knicks wanted to make a statement in this game, so they came out flying in the opening minutes.
There's Sprewell. Yes. So the Knicks have come out and hit their first 7 shots, and they lead 16-5.
Miami did not want the game to get out of hand, so they needed to hustle for every point.
There's Mashburn with some room. And kept alive by Hardaway. Hardaway for 3. Yes.
But Miami's defense still could not cool down the Knicks. Behind 12 first-half points by sharpshooter Allen Houston, New York maintained a 49-46 lead going into the break. In the second half, Coach Riley wanted his Heat to play with a little more fire, but the Knick D's stamped out any Miami spark.
Off the spin, rejected by Ewing. That's his 3rd block. Miami was looking for a goal kick. Sprewell taking all the way.
Down 6, Miami needed a little luck.
Mashburn, air ball, or he'll say a pass. It's a beautiful pass.
But led by Latrell Sprewell, the Knicks were still strong on the attack. Miami seemed frustrated and fireworks almost went off once again. But the Heat settled down and started a comeback.
Here's Mashburn. Weatherspoon. Now Mourning over Thomas. Alonzo Mourning has 25 points. Miami within 4. Mourning played by Ewing. Shot clock is down to 3. Mourning, yes. The Knick lead is down to 1. Alonzo Mourning has 31.
With the momentum shifting to the Heat, the Knicks needed an answer. They picked up their D and got a massive dunk. That put New York up by 3 late in the game.
Coming up on 2.5 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Go back to Mourning. He's got the hot hand.
Morley for three. And the game is tied at 83. A 10-2 run by Miami. Hardaway. Yes. Miami by 2. The Knicks call for time.
In the timeout, the Knicks set up a play to get the ball into the hands of Allen Houston.
Houston. Yes. And the game is tied at 85. Shot clock at 10. 1:15 remaining in the fourth. Here is Marley for three. Miami takes a 3-point lead. That's his fourth three-pointer. Allen Houston fires. There was a two-point shot. Ewing pops it out. Here's Sprewell to tie it. Cannot. Ewing with the tip. Ewing with the rebound. Gets it out. There's Childs looking to tie. He does! With 11 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Chris Childs from downtown. The game is tied at 88. Mourning. Mashburn, who has not been able to hit, comes up short, and we go to overtime. That is not the man that Pat Riley wanted to shoot the ball. 1 for 14 from the field for Jamal Mashburn.
After that fast and furious finish in regulation, both teams seemed to lose their focus at the start of overtime. Misses followed misses as it took nearly 2 minutes before either team scored. But it was the Knicks who struck first by getting Ewing the ball in close.
Yes, and it counts.
Ewing added a free throw to make it a 91-88 lead for New York. The Heat needed to score, so they gave the ball to their big man in the middle.
Mourning getting good position on Camby. He got in very deep. Allen Houston has played well, looking to shake off Marley. Houston forced it. Ewing is right there. Patrick Ewing with a big bucket to give the Knicks a 3-point lead. 25 seconds to go in the overtime. Shot clock is at 5. Ewing lost it. Once again, turns it over.
Houston and Sprewell, neither one of them even touched the ball.
Time running down. 3-point Knick lead. Mashburn from Brown. It's down to 1. 8, 9, 10 seconds remaining in the overtime.
They've got to foul immediately, and they do, Jamal Mashburn.
Childs, usually a solid free throw shooter, hit the first one but missed the second to give the Knicks just a 2-point lead. After grabbing the rebound, the Heat took a timeout to set up their final shot.
4 and 7/10 seconds left in overtime. The Knicks by 2. Miami gets it in. Here's Hardaway looking for the shot. Childs does not want to foul. Hardaway fires and hits. Tim Hardaway has won it with a 3-point fling. Miami stunning the New York Knicks 95 to 94.
Just a fling, a curveball that went in the side door. Incredible.
Hey, it meant a lot. You know, we was down by a lot. We came back. I just made a clutch shot with somebody in my face. It rolled in. I missed all my shots, and it just rolled in. It's just a shot that I take and I make. Maybe this will just lift our spirits up going into the playoffs, and we can do something now.
It was the most unbelievable thing I have ever seen. That was P.J. Brown's response to that miracle shot from Tim Hardaway. Not only did it clinch the game, but it gave Miami their 3rd win out of 4 games this season against their arch rivals. And at this critical point in the season, you have to be able to draw on every basketball trick in the book and then some. And that sounds like a cue for our Candyman.
Hey there, we're back on the beach. You need the hand speed of Paul Daniels to do this. It's called the crossover dribble.
Hardaway, killer crossover.
In basketball, you have to beat your man. But if you can beat him and embarrass him, that's even better.
Kobe, that is absolutely unstoppable.
First, you make your opponent move one way,
Then
When it's reaching and off balance, you dribble the ball from one hand to the other hand and go the other way to leave him clutching there.
Iverson has Jordan. The crowd is into it. Allen shakes free. Gets two! Take a look at the crossover. Mike says, oh! Allen said yes! The bucket! The crowd loves it! Nice move by Allen Iverson.
The move may start slowly to set up your opponent, but crossover is like a cobra that strikes quickly and without warning.
Kobe Bryant. It's just not fair.
One spin, twice shy. The crossover dribble is a deadly skill on the basketball court, and there is no antidote. Trust me.
Mike, at 7 foot tall, I ain't going to argue with anything that you say. Anyway, still to come today on NBA 2000, Steve Nash gets rowdy when he takes us inside the loudest arenas in the league. And then we've got some Wild West action as the Portland Trail Blazers take on the vintage Utah Jazz. Watch out for those short shorts. I'll see you shortly.
And he has been stupendous.
MJ's send-off was the biggest ever, but not necessarily the noisiest. Any player who's played in the playoffs will tell you how loud the fans are. They can be downright intimidating and give the home team a big advantage. So week in, week out, which arenas have the loudest and maddest fans? Well, in Portland, they have a history of madness that continues today. When the Trailblazers won the NBA championship in 1977, their fans, nicknamed the Blazer Maniacs, took to the streets.
Traffic was brought to a near standstill as celebrating fans whooped it up and formed a crazy serpentine procession going nowhere in particular.
And the normally mild-mannered people of Utah, remember, this is home to the Osmonds, has become a 20,000-strong force to be reckoned with once inside the Delta Center. I can speak from experience when I say there's not a lot of love for the opposing team.
And Steve's not kidding. His Dallas Mavericks have won only once in Salt Lake City in the last 11 years. Another team that's guaranteed a hostile reception by the Utah fans are the Portland Trail Blazers. Why? Well, last year, Utah were dumped out of the playoffs in the second round by Portland. And with that particular matchup looking like a distinct possibility again this year, both teams are going to want to gain some very important psychological points.
In Utah, the Jazz hosted Portland. Although both teams have clinched their playoff spots, there was more than just bragging rights at stake.
Time to get down to the nitty-gritty here in Salt Lake City. If Utah is going to catch Portland and get home court in a possible second-round matchup, they have got to win this game tonight.
Karl Malone in white did his best to get Utah going in the right direction, but Portland's Rasheed Wallace kept this game close.
Here is Rasheed around Karl Malone, and what a great play in it. Karl Malone playing Rasheed Wallace one-on-one with no help.
Wallace was showing off his all-star skills on both ends of the court.
John Stockton, one of the best assist-turnover ratios in the league. I think we'll see that pick and roll. What a block there by Rasheed Wallace. Apparently he got it cleanly, as Malone did not get it off the backboard first.
Well, it's two baskets that were saved. One by Grant, one by Wallace, and blocking shots.
A big reason why Portland has been so tough this season is the strength of their bench. This depth was evident against Utah as they built a first-half lead behind players like
Fonzie Wells with a great step along the baseline, and Portland has opened up the largest lead of the game at 28-22. Steve Smith, no call. Stoudemire fouled as he made a three-pointer from the corner.
Portland was in form and on fire in the first half. Their mighty mouse, Damon Stoudemire, pushed their lead as they held a 45-36 advantage at the intermission. In the second half, Utah needed to come out strong.
Shot clock at 5. Hornacek stripped by Stoudemire. Utah now down 15 points. Pippen, what a great first step, and all the way into his second basket of the game. Sabonis. Brian Grant inside for the dunk.
As Portland continued to look strong and build their lead, it was now or never for Utah to get back into this game.
Rebound Malone right up in rhythm. Back comes Portland. Pippen, Russell down, no call, blocked by Ostertag. Stockton, he loved that pull-up three. Utah has it within 8.
The Jazz and their mad fans were back into the game, but Portland kept attacking and momentarily quietened the Utah crazies. Going into the fourth quarter, Utah trailed by 8.
Armin Gilliam. Almost threw it away. Stockton the save. Howard Isley a three. We have a game now. It's a three-pointer. Bonzi Wells. Well, he takes some wild shots at times. Up the floor is Russell. He rips it. We have a one-point game. Utah's 16-point deficit has been cut to 1.
Utah tied the game with a free throw, and then Portland got the ball back.
This is our first tie since it was 14-all way back when. Steve Smith against Brian Russell. Clock at 2. A three is made by Anthony. Way to bail him out of that set.
Huge shot that time by Greg Anthony.
Utah hit 2 foul shots to make it a one-point game.
Stockton tipped it. Stoudemire. Pippen a three from the corner. Pippen's had a rough shooting game. And Ostertag clears another defensive board. Howard Isley open. They can't skip the pass though.
Nice job in transition defense that time by the Blazers getting back.
Utah has their first lead since it was 7-6, 3.5 minutes into the game.
Portland retook the lead on this inbounds play, and then Utah tied the game with another free throw. With just over 4 minutes left, this game was up for grabs.
Pippen. That was blocked by Ostertag.
Boy, Scottie Pippen took some swing at John Stockton with his elbow that time as they were coming out of the pack. He's very lucky. The officials are watching that matchup right now. Pippen against Stockton.
Clock at 10. Isley. A two-pointer. 76-74. Utah.
This game became a war of free throws. Portland's Steve Smith hit 4 in a row to give his Blazers a 2-point lead. Utah answered back.
1-point game. A three is made by Steve Smith to give Portland a 4-point lead. What a shot by Smith.
2 more free throws by Utah closed the gap to 2 with time running out.
Pippen doubled. Clock at 12. Anthony for 3. He got it. Portland has made 2 huge threes down the stretch. Steve Smith and now Greg Anthony.
Anthony likes to spot, float, get to the open area, and on the kick pass back out again, shoot the three.
Down 5, Utah needed to hit some threes of their own, and quickly.
Jeff Hornacek has come into the game here. Stockton's open for 3. Missed it. Malone refeeds him. Corner. Isley. And that's a 3. Way short. And a loose ball foul called immediately before the ball even landed by Steve Javie.
2 chances to hit a 3 and 2 misses had the Utah faithful heading for their cars, but the Jazz still have one last hope.
Utah down 5. Brian Russell to inbound. Malone right back to Russell for a 3. Nope. Rebound to Wallace. And Wallace got fouled as he was coming down, and that is just about it with 8.5 seconds to go. This will more than likely end Utah's quest to catch Portland. Portland would go up by 4. It pretty much wraps it up.
Portland held on for the 90-86 win.
So, despite blowing an early 16-point lead, Portland survived Utah's late surge for that very significant win. With 3 out of 4 wins over Utah, Portland must surely have the edge if, as predicted, these two meet in the second round of the playoffs. But never mind what ifs, let's see what has happened this week with Russ.
Michael Olowokandi was quick to embrace our contact theme this week. He guaranteed himself an early bath by mugging Dallas's Sean Bradley.
Olowokandi has been thrown out of the ballgame.
But it's been really mad in the East. New York didn't have time to mope about their defeat to Miami. Next up was top-ranked Indiana. It was close and controversial.
Johnson for 3. Let's go! Larry Johnson puts it in. The Pacers want to wave it off. They feel Ewing tipped it. They felt Ewing touched the ball. Yeah, he touched it. Yeah, that looked like he touched it. No question about that, folks.
That hand of God annoyed Reggie Miller, but Patrick Ewing then had a chance to win the game.
All tied up. Ewing against Davis. Ewing spins to the baseline, puts it up. Let's go! Patrick Ewing gives an extra 2-point lead with 2 seconds remaining.
So now it was Indiana's turn to feel robbed. New York's win meant Miami could now catch Indiana at the top of the East. All they had to do was beat Allen Iverson and his 76ers in Philadelphia.
Bowen, the near steal. Iverson got it. They're all going down tonight.
Iverson had the answers. Philly claimed the win and Miami stays second. The serious, real nail-biting is at the bottom, where Orlando and Milwaukee are fighting for the last playoff spot.
On the shot clock, John Mason. Williams got the touch on the rebound. Wait for Austin Hall to want to pass. Wow.
Milwaukee's win closed the gap with Orlando to a single game. Question, who's got the stronger nerves? Orlando then face lowly Boston.
1-point lead for Orlando. In a game they desperately need to win to keep ahead of Milwaukee. And the Magic turn it over. Anderson ahead of the pack. Boston's leading, 92-91.
Orlando's playoff ambitions took a battering from Boston as the Celtics won. And that result meant Milwaukee could steal the 8th place with a win over Cleveland.
The Bucks have the 8th spot. They are in the playoff bracket with a 101-100 victory over Cleveland tonight.
Games are definitely a little bit more important because if you lose, you know that you're taking a step backwards. But if you win, you're taking a step forward.
So we do play a lot of very good teams, but we play them at home, and we believe we can beat almost anybody at home.
There's a purpose on every play. There's a purpose in every game, and you can see the direction in everybody's eyes right now.
Guess what? All up west, the Minnesota Timberwolves face the menacing Portland Trail Blazers.
Welcome to London's 1920, the venue for this week's NBA 2K. During the next 7 weeks, just one team will emerge from the 16 contenders to become NBA champions. This is the playoffs. It all kicked off last Saturday, and here's Russ with the first round matchups and predictions.
Monster Shaqzilla and pin-up boy Kobe have swept through the league this season. We think they'll sweep the Kings too. LA hit cruise control 3-0. Bye-bye Kings. The reigning NBA champions show they intend to repeat, so in Texas, the Suns' dreams will go up in flames. Phoenix can't resist San Antonio. Spurs 3-1. The big whiner versus the big ticket. If bad boy Rasheed Wallace can keep his temper, then Kevin Garnett can kiss goodbye to the postseason. Shame. Blazers grab glory, just 3-2. Led by the dynamic duo of Stockton and Malone, the veteran Utah Jazz have been there, done that, and bought the T-shirt. They'll do it again. First-class delivery, Utah 3-1. The Bucks only just managed to book a ticket into the playoffs, but with Reggie and the Birdmen as their opponents, it should only be a very brief stay. Indy 500, the Mouth and his mates march on 3-0. Philadelphia may have all the answers, but the Hornets have home court and will be out to provide the sting in the tail of this story. 76ers get stung 3-2. Invincible, Vincredible, Vinsanity more like. A fantastic season, but maybe next year, boys. The Knicks use experience and attitude to dump Toronto. Get Carter, get the win. New York edge it 3-2. An overdose of Florida sun may well pickle the brains of the unpredictable Pistons. Zoe and co are just too tough for the misfiring men from Motor City. The heat is on, 3-1.
And the favourites, well, we tipped the LA Lakers to win the West and then take the finals in flamboyant style. But that's quite a popular prediction. It's actually harder to guess who's going to represent the Eastern Conference. Last year it was New York, and many people are backing the Knicks to take a return trip to the finals again this year. So New York start their campaign at home against Toronto and the stellar Vince Carter.
New York City was the scene for this first-round match between the battle-tested Knicks and the new kids on the playoff block, the Toronto Raptors. But how would Vince Carter respond to the pressure of his first playoff game?
The focus, the energy, the excitement, palpable here at Madison Square Garden.
Oakley with a miss.
Made a good ball fake to get open. Ward went flying by, but Oakley couldn't hit. Sprewell pull up. Here's the matchup. Carter against Latrell Sprewell. Carter shoots over him. High kick to Larry Johnson.
New York's been quicker to every ball. They've denied good looks. Forced shot that time by Vince Carter.
You see Allen Houston just catch his breath.
Right.
So, you know, he pumped with adrenaline and really excited about the ball game. Houston.
For three.
The Knicks were pumping in the points from the start, but their main focus was swarming around Vince Carter on defense.
2 attempts by Vince Carter, and that would be playoff nerves. McGrady and Carter want to do too much and be too spectacular early. Again, another case of nerves, and he looks at McGrady and says, "You could have got that."
Spike Lee almost got it. New York up 13-5.
Confusion reigning here for Toronto early. Vince Carter
Shoots over Sprewell, an air ball. Carter misses badly, an air ball on a 3-point attempt. He's 0 for 8.
The Knicks look like they just wanted this game a little more than the Raptors. Centre Patrick Ewing has fought many a playoff battle and showed he still has some bounce left in the old bones.
McGrady blocked by Ewing. Got it back, blocked again.
Latrell Sprewell shut down Carter, and then he turned up his own attack.
Sprewell is dancing to the rim at will. Now Sprewell is in one of those streaks where he feels it.
New York took charge in the first half as they sent a shell-shocked Raptor team to the locker room, trailing 46-37. In the second half, Toronto needed Air Canada to take flight, but the Knicks were playing the role of air traffic controllers.
Vince Carter having gone through the only first half of his career where he hasn't scored a field goal. Carter for 3. Still does not have a field goal. Carter on the fly.
Brady has his hand up, but Carter's looking for his first 2.
He's 0 for 11.
Meanwhile, the Knicks were still clicking as they played a total team game on the attack.
great ball movement.
And Houston hits the 3.
With the Knicks up 9, the Raptors needed Carter to start knocking down shots if they were going to make a comeback.
Steps back. First field goal of the game comes on his 13th attempt.
You know, with Vince Carter, if he makes 1, 2, he's sure to follow, but do they give him another shot at it against Larry Johnson?
Yes, they do. 2 in a row. Vince Carter, you don't want him to heat up now.
It's a 3-point game.
With Carter getting hot and pulling the Raptors back into the game, the Knicks needed someone to step up.
Childs for 3. And just like that, the Knicks double the lead.
But when you have a player as good and as hot and as unselfish as Latrell Sprewell, the more times he just touches the ball, the better things are going to happen. Blocked by Camby.
Carter got his own and then threw it away, trying to throw it out of the triple D.
He rushed that opportunity, trying to get his 3rd straight hoop.
Childs, he has 2 in a row. Childs scores 5 straight points for Van Gundy's Knicks.
But the Raptors were finally feeling comfortable on the attack, and down 6, they knew they were within striking range.
Under 6 minutes to play. Here's Willis again, low post, double team with Childs, and a 3-pointer by McGrady.
Oakley and Ewing really battling for position. Ewing doesn't like this side of the floor.
Bogues got it away from him.
He doesn't like playing against
Muggsy Bogues pulls up, finds Carter for 3. Carter looked down at the stripe to make sure he was behind it and knocked it through to tie it at 81.
After the teams traded baskets, the score was still tied, and the Knicks got the ball back with a chance to retake the lead.
Ewing, an off-balance runner goes. Patrick Ewing gives the Knicks a 2-point advantage.
Carter should drive this ball to the bucket. If he comes real hard and he pulls back, bad shot, McGrady rebound.
push out of bounds. McGrady to the line.
With over 19,000 New Yorkers screaming at him, the 20-year-old Tracy McGrady calmly hit both of his free throws to tie the game.
Inside the final minute, game one.
Well, Bill, the Knicks have one timeout left, and this is a big possession for them. They've been riding Ewing. Will he give them one more bucket?
There's the entry pass. Double team comes from the backside. Ball movement to Johnson for three. Larry Johnson has not missed in the second half. He's 5 for 5. Knicks by 3.
New York hit the big shots when it counted, but there was still time left for Toronto.
42 seconds left. The Raptors. Carter is checked by Latrell Sprewell.
That's going to be 2 shots and the ball.
Yeah,
flagrant.
That is a bad mistake by Sprewell.
Sprewell made no play on the ball with this hard takedown of Carter, so he was called for the flagrant foul. Carter missed the first free throw, but hit the second to cut the deficit to 2 points, while Toronto maintained possession of the ball.
New York's lack of timeouts could be a problem.
Driving again.
Carter couldn't score. Antonio Davis. It'll be Toronto's ball with 32 seconds. Sprewell up on him tight. A screen from Oakland. Here's the double team of Carter. They got it away from him. He manages to save. Shot from McGrady, no good. Christie with a rebound. 18 seconds left. Christie's shot, no good. Scrambled for the ball. Childs calls timeout.
The littlest man on the court, Chris Childs, made the biggest play. The Knicks added 4 more foul shots to seal the game.
New York holds on to beat Toronto in game 1, 92-88.
Now, win or lose, every game is a grudge match for the New York Knicks, and that one was no exception. The spin this time is that New York's Marcus Camby called his former coach, Butch Carter, a liar, which had Carter suing Camby for $5 million. As Don King says, only in America. So, is that just another rivalry to add to the already long list for the New York Knicks? Well, apparently, it's not that new.
Hey, I'm Steve Nash, and I have a little historical information about my homeland to send your way. Did you know that the first NBA game was played in Toronto, Canada? Yes, before the Raptors, Vince Carter was showing off his Air Canada game. There was basketball in Toronto. On November 1st, 1946, the Toronto Huskies hosted the New York Knickerbockers at the Maple Leaf Gardens. You might be wondering why the NBA was born in Toronto, a city better known for its hockey. Well, the league was formed by a group of men who were hockey promoters. They knew basketball might be a tough sell in Canada, so they offered a free ticket to anyone taller than the Huskies' 6'8" center. So they built it, but did anybody come? With tickets at bargain basement prices ranging from 75 cents to $2.50, over 7,000 fans showed up to see a game that bared little resemblance to today's high-flying affairs.
The New Yorkers show some nice ball handling with dazzling passing.
By the way, New York did win the game 68-66 in a barn burner. So how do you think Vince Carter would have done against those guys? I think it might have been a bit ugly. I don't see anyone dunking in those days.
If you've enjoyed the wise words of our basketball Buddhas, Steve and Michael, there's even more wisdom online. Just log on to stevenash.net or candyman.com. Still to come on today's NBA 2K, we reveal what's up in the West as Portland leave the not at all welcome mat out for Kevin Garnett and the Minnesota Timberwolves.